Okay, let's start. I didn't know how long it would be until you just assumed that the volume wasn't working. Stop listening to 11.3, the Fin De Siecle, and the new Consumerism, 11.3, with our friend Tickle Me Elmo. Let's see if I can, make him talk. Oh. Stay. Okay. Menu, that's great. So, 1.2, we talked about how it was the golden age of the bourgeoisie, right? Bourgeoisie are doing great, making money, and their culture is really driving Western Europe. Well, we see that culturally and economically in many other ways as well. And the period right before the beginning of World War One is called the Belle Epoque. Okay, the beautiful era. It's the name of this unit that I gave it. Is that this is a time period where Europe is relatively peaceful, relatively tension-free, relatively kicking butt everywhere. Think about imperialism, think about the Second Industrial Revolution and urbanization and new inventions, and all of that is going to be translated into a rocking economy that is marked by this new consumerism, where people are now looking to get things that they want rather than the things that they need. And we talked about like the consumer revolution. Remember that from the 18th century? You could very well think about this as kind of the next leg of the consumer revolution, where the wealthy, and now we're talking about more people now, where we're talking about the thriving middle class bourgeoisie, and even to a degree the working class, are now able to take disposable income and buy things that they want. Therefore, your standard of living is increased among industrialized countries. So again, the more industrialized you are through the first and second industrial revolution, the more successful and thriving your country will be. Southern and Eastern Europe, though, still struggling. We talk about Southern Europe, we talk about Southern Italy, the Balkans, Ottoman Empire, Russia, Austrian Empire to a degree, whereas really the rest of Europe, England, France, the Netherlands, Germany, Northern Italy, are doing fantastically well and seeing all this economic growth. And here's the idea. More money to spend, less working hours, think about electricity and how that plays a role. Professional jobs, you have to work 16-hour shifts, 6 days a week in the factory. So you have more money to spend, plus less working hours means more leisure time, more time to spend on things you want. Okay, so it's the magic formula. I get paid, I get a weekend, about to have some fun. Europe about to have some fun in this epoch. Okay, and a lot of the leisure time is spent with family. Okay, that's great. Sports and leisure, fun. Okay, leisure time is centering on the family in small groups, and was created by the changing role of work. So again, work is with not less industrialized, but different industrialized jobs now, with smaller or shorter working hours. In the factories, now you can take that time to use and spend with your family. And organized sports are going to attract not only participants, but spectators. People are going to go spend their time watching someone do something else. What a ridiculous idea, right? To go and choose to take your time that you have free from work and sit on your butt and watch someone else do some physical activity. It's a dumb idea. We do it every day, okay? At least I do. You also see the development of a huge bicycle craze. This invention, thanks to in part the rubber tire, thanks Belgian Congo for that, gives a new leisure option for a lot of people. The Olympics return as an organized sport, 1896 in Athens. So they return, and again, people watching athletic events. But then another thing to kind of note here is that sports also is going to mirror the rise of this new aggressive nationalism, right? The Olympics is all about, taking pride in your country and funneling that pride through athletic endeavors. Pride in your county, pride in the region of your country, and you represent and cheer for your team, but it's kind of like who you are, right? cheer for Kentucky basketball because we grow up here in Kentucky. It's a part of our culture. It brings us together. So sports culture is also going to mirror the rise of that nationalism, which is growing throughout Europe that we've seen here in the last couple of units. Okay, and also think about the sports and nationalism as a connection to social Darwinism, right? Survival of the fittest, the best survive. We want to see the winner, and we know if there's a winner, there's going to be a loser. So it's all kind of in the same social and intellectual thought process. I tell you what, though, the bicycles had a big impact on the ladies. I mean, look at these gals. I mean, they are hardcore. Elmo is staring them down, you perv. You might want to, stop. Look over here. Look at me. Oh. Get it together, Elmo. Get it together. Get it together. There he goes. He's gone. Okay, so here, let's see. A little, what else do I have? Furniture polish. Okay, just look at that. All right. So again, these two ladies here, I mean, I'm getting a little like Wicked Witch of the West feel from these ladies, right? From the Wizard of Oz. But in any case, bicycles helped women break some social barriers. Let me explain. Okay? Ladies, you know this because I'm not much of a veteran at wearing skirts or dresses, but if you try to ride that bicycle right there with that dress, good luck, right? So you're going to see new ladies' fashions, new women's fashions to incorporate and to be able to ride these new transportation methods. And you can see the ladies styling and profiling, and not only that, but smoking and showing ankle. Oh my gosh, right? Elmo has passed out back here. He can't even look at that. He is so embarrassed and so upset. So bloomer costumes or women's emancipation. Is it new dress, due to these new technological inventions, or is it an ability to become a more free creature in a society which, as we looked at in 11.2, told women that you are in the private sphere, right? That you are not to be in the public sphere. So again, this new consumerism is also bringing women out into the public sphere. You see the growth of mass culture. And again, money, baby. Money, money, money. Second Industrial Revolution. Imperialism brings all this financial growth together. Growth of the bourgeoisie to go out to cafes and taverns, right? I mean, stereotypical Paris, you're going to eat at a cafe at 8:30 in the morning with a cappuccino and a beignet and a crepe and French fries, right? I mean, that's what you're going to do. So cafes and taverns become more popular. Department stores spread quickly. Dance halls, concerts, plays. This is our life, right? This is how we live in America in 2018, is that we have this free time after school and after work. And we want to spend our money that we have on things that are fun. We're not, oh, hello, Ann. We're not just trying to survive anymore. We have the money to thrive and build our lives. This is the first department store in Paris. It's called the Bon Marché, and it was an absolutely, as you can see, dynamite atmosphere for economic growth and social connection. You can still go visit the Bon Marché today in Paris. And if you go to Paris, you see these department stores where you can get the finest clothes and the newest fashions, and people are wanting to spend their money on that and enjoying their lives rather than just surviving. And that ebullience, that willingness to spend and enjoy was a celebration of life in Paris in the year 1889. The 100-year anniversary of the French Revolution was marked by the dedication of the Eiffel Tower as a monument to Paris's industrial might, its scientific and technological growth, and its commitment to liberal Enlightenment ideas 100 years after the beginning of the French Revolution. And the Eiffel Tower was there kind of as a monument to that. We do have some new inventions which allow and help to expand this mass culture, new consumerism. The telephono, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell you what that does. You're probably holding one in your hand right now. The automobile, again, rubber tires, transportation, being able to go from place to place so much easier. The phonograph, the sound, right? The ability to spread and listen to others make works of music. Now, music is not just, say, for a religious purpose inside of a church, but it can be added as a popular and entertainment value as well. Radio, to transfer news, to transfer information. Dynamite change in terms of the spread of information, and also eventually moving pictures, right? Motion pictures, which transform eventually into what we call movies. So all of these inventions here in this late 19th century, early 20th century add to the growth of mass culture, meaning that so many people can share different ideas together, right? You can say, hey, did you hear that on the radio? Yeah, I sure did. Like, that was cool. Hey, did you hear this music by this new guy? Oh, that's pretty awesome. Let me hear it too. So now people are starting to grow closer together in a cultural sense. And they make connections in that way. Now, a couple of things to look at, though, in other aspects of life. We haven't really talked about the Catholic Church here for some time. How are they responding to this modern world? Well, nationalism is decreasing the influence of the church. We see so much more loyalty now to your nation and government than to the church itself. So where does that loyalty lie? Well, in 1864, the church issues what's called the Syllabus of Errors, and it attacks the new isms, right? The very much a Metternich concert of Europe Congress of Vienna document where they're attacking these new ideas that are decreasing the role of the church in the modern world. However, 27 years later, the Rerum Novarum is basically an addendum to that document, which says, let's down here in the corner, which says that Catholics can participate in liberal politics. Keep in mind that liberalism begins to shift toward taking care of the poor. So perhaps the Catholic Church sees a possibility of a little bit of growth in such an interventionist idea. Workers' rights must be protected, but socialism is bad because they felt, and maybe with reason, that its connection to Marxism, which was anti-religious, was something to be avoided. So workers' rights must be protected, but you don't want to strip the wealth from people that perhaps could be given to the church instead to government programs. So what we see overall, though, as time is going on, an overall decline in many ways of the church's attendance, especially in the lower middle and working classes, as industrialism takes over, as standard of living improves. You see less and less people, especially in urban areas, starting to go to church. Upper classes, you don't really see it as much. It's still seen as a traditional thing, but in the lower classes, you start to see a decrease in attendance of church. And we will continue to see how the Catholic Church adjusts to these new changes as time goes on. Last thing, real quick, education. We've already mentioned this a little bit, but these are some important changes too. The state's role in education is increasing and emphasizing loyalty and service to the state. It's compulsory attendance in public schools, and you see that a lot of Western Europe, where the government funds schools. You see literacy fly up. You see a lot more people being able to read, again, increasing the idea of mass culture. And girls have less access to secondary education. It's still a very high bias when it comes to not primary education at the beginning, but college, high school, the higher levels of education. You still see women in the late 1800s not having those opportunities, even though we've seen glimpses this last couple of units of progress in many roles for women. So that will close out 11.3. I want to go back to the beginning just to emphasize one more thing. When I say that phrase, the Fin De Siecle, which is broken French, that means the end of the century. So again, this section really works in tandem with 11.2 because the growth, and 11.1 for that matter, because the increased wealth from the Second Industrial Revolution, plus the wealth coming from imperialism, plus the success of the bourgeoisie, leads to an attitude of consuming rather than surviving. And that continues to grow and results in this growth of mass culture. So, from all of us here, from the Furniture Polish and Elmo and my janky lip, we say goodbye, and we'll pick you up with 11.4.